I'm so hungry. Hey guys, it's Asia, the Princess of Variety, and I am back with another, this is my first 13 Reasons Why Season 3 review, so I don't know why I'm saying another. I'm just so used to saying that. I am back with my 13 Reasons Why Season 3 review. So this review is going to be all over the place. The main way I want to go about doing this is I want to talk about each character. I may forget some minor characters, but the main characters, I want to touch bases on each character and kind of what I thought about them this season. I have my handy dandy list of everything that I want to talk about. And also, I want to show you guys what my list was, because kind of mid-season, I made a list of who I thought could have killed Bryce. So I'm going to show you guys that right now. So it says in no particular order, Zach, one of Bryce's parents, Ani, Hannah's mom, Bootleg Chloe is the one that was in like the awareness group with Jessica. I called her Bootleg Chloe because she was like a bootleg version of Chloe Price from Life is Strange. So that's really what I called her because I don't really know her name. And then Tyler, and then I put maybe Hannah, but doubt it because I thought that would be like a cool twist if Hannah wasn't actually dead or something. It would have been some Pretty Little Liars-ish. That wasn't the case. Obviously, I was wrong, but at one point I thought I was right because of Zach when that whole thing happened with him. Okay, so the first person that I want to talk about is Ani. Where did this girl come from? She seems like she came out of thin air. She wasn't in any of the other seasons. She just was a character that they added. And at first, I really don't know how I felt about this because it was just kind of like, girl, you weren't even here for anything that happened. So why are you so relevant this season? Like, why should I care about anything you're saying? Why are you narrating the whole season? Like, you weren't even here. But then I kind of overcame that and I started to like her. And I liked how Clay had like kind of like a sidekick throughout the season. I kind of liked how he had someone to communicate with throughout the season. I was just a little confused as to why they chose her to do that stuff, I guess. Like why did they choose Ani to be the narrator of this season and to be the character that she was when they could have chosen someone else that was already in the season, if that makes sense, or they could have chosen Clay. Somebody made the point that, okay, you guys remember Sherry and Marcus, right? And there were a few other characters that weren't in this season, like the guy that did like poetry with Hannah. There were some characters from last season, season 2, that weren't there anymore. And people were saying that those characters graduated, that's why they weren't there. But somebody made a really good point. Ani's lines could have been split up between, like, some of the things she said could have been said by Sherry and Marcus and, you know, those characters that were already there. She really surprised me when she slept with Bryce. I don't know why. I was kind of thinking that was going to happen, but part of me was like, no, she seems like the type of girl that wouldn't do that, especially, like, since her mom works for Bryce's mom, taking care of his grandfather and all of that stuff. I was thinking, no, like she's that's not gonna happen. She's not gonna do anything with him, but she did, and I was kind of shocked, but in a way I was happy that happened because it kind of put like a twist to everything, and I knew there would be drama with Clay and stuff like that because I could tell that he liked her. I was thinking that maybe she was the killer at first. I was like, because she's on my list, but then again, as time went on, I was like, why would they make the killer somebody that's just completely new? And I'm glad they didn't do that because I kind of would have been mad if they did that. I wanted it to be somebody that we've known for a while. As far as Clay goes this season, I love Clay. He's always been one of my favorite characters in the show. I never really thought it was Clay because if it was Clay, then he's too big of a character. And if he had killed Bryce, then the whole next season, which is the final season, would have had to be about why he killed Bryce, and then what? He would have been locked up for the last season. Like, it just wouldn't have made sense. So I kind of had a feeling it wasn't him. His relationship with Ani was very interesting. I love how he's always trying to help. I mean, Clay is Clay. He didn't really do anything this season that was very different from the other seasons, but I've loved him since Don't Breathe. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that thriller. That was the first time I ever saw him, and I loved his character in that too. So Dylan Minnette is his name. I think I'm gonna bring up Clay a little bit more throughout this review when I talk about other characters, so I'll get back to him. Jessica has always been a character that has kind of annoyed me. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I really like Jessica, and then other times I'm like, she's so annoying. Sometimes she just seems very extra to me, and I don't know why. And I didn't like how she knew about what happened to Bryce the whole time, but they were just all acting like they didn't know. Clay was getting in trouble for something that Jessica knew, like she knew who had killed Bryce, but she didn't say anything. So that kind of made me mad a little bit, that she knew the entire time and didn't say anything. Not saying she should rat Alex out, but she could have at least been like, hey guys, you know, this is what happened. Can we at least try to cover this up for him or something? She was just gonna let Clay like just go to jail because of something that he didn't do. I didn't really like that. I saw a lot of growth from Jessica this season that I appreciated. I love how she went and talked to Bryce and how she stood up to him and stuff like that. I really liked seeing them interact with one another face to face. Justin, I hated Justin the first season. I really did not care for I really did not care for Justin at all the first season. I didn't like his character whatsoever. Second season, I started to love him. This season, I still love him. I think he's a great character. I didn't like seeing him doing drugs again and getting into that stuff. I did think it was kind of weird how he kept interacting with his stepdad. I hated when his stepdad would come around because I'm like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? Is something bad gonna happen? And I didn't want that to happen, and I really do like how he's a part of Clay's family now, and I'm glad that he has a home. He was lying a lot at some parts, like some points he was lying to Clay, and I'm like, why do you keep lying? Just tell the truth. It was kind of annoying. I like seeing him standing up to Bryce, and I have a lot to say about Bryce. I'll get to him in a second. I feel like Jessica, it makes, I don't know, I feel like she looks very weird with Alex. Like them together is just very strange to me. I've always thought them being together was strange. I like her with Justin better, honestly. Oh, and when Justin stood up, when they were standing up saying that they're a survivor, I guess, from like sexual abuse, that was I wasn't shocked, but I was just like, oh, like this is something that we didn't know this whole time. There was one point in, I don't know if it was season 2, but it was before that happened. Jessica had said something to Justin like he'll never know what it's like to be sexually abused and stuff like that, and the whole time he had experienced that as a child and none of us knew. So it was interesting to see him stand up, and it kind of changes everything too, because maybe that's why he struggled so much with telling Jessica what happened to her, and maybe that's why he struggled so much with stopping it from happening to her, because I don't know, maybe he was having PTSD from what had happened to him when he was a kid. I'm really not sure, but a lot more makes a lot of sense now. Courtney, she was very irrelevant this season, and I thought it was kind of weird how she wasn't really in the season, because she was always one of the main characters before. So I thought that was kind of strange, but I don't really have much to say about her because she was only in the season where she was like the student body president or whatever, and then I don't know, we didn't see much of her in this season at all, so I don't have much to say about her. I never really liked Courtney, so I don't care that much that she wasn't in the season, but it's kind of weird that she wasn't though. Okay, Bryce's ex-girlfriend Chloe. That scene where she was walking to the abortion clinic and that lady was escorting her across the street and she was acting like she was trying to help her, but she was actually a part of the group that was like protesting outside of the abortion clinic, that had me up. Like, I was like, what the hell is going on? Didn't she have like a fetus in her hand and like put it in Chloe's hand or something? Like, because it was just weird because she was like escorting her, and I was like, I felt like something was about to happen. I think Chloe was talking to her about the people outside of the clinic and stuff, and then the lady was like, oh yeah, sometimes they come alone, sometimes they bring like 15 friends with them. And then they were just talking, and I was like, this lady seems very off. And then she said something like, oh yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you're killing a baby or something like that. And I was just like, the way she worded that was a little strange to me. Then she said something like, I don't know, she did something and then put a fetus, a fetus or something in Chloe's hand, and I was shook after that. That's the main thing I remember about her being in the season, and then her relationship with Zach. But honestly, she was pretty irrelevant this season too. Chloe, I didn't really care for that much in season 2. The main important part about her being in this season was like the abortion. And I guess her relationship with Zach was kind of relevant because it gave Zach more of a reason for possibly hurting Bryce, but Chloe's kind of like, to me. Tyler is one of those people that I didn't really care for either. Season 2, Tyler was more relevant. He was actually a huge part of season 2, but I didn't really care for Tyler that much either until he brought the gun to school. Like leading up until the last few episodes where Monty did what he did and sexually assaulted Tyler, and then when Tyler brought the gun to school, that's when he became like relevant to me. Before that, it was just kind of like, okay, like this is the creepy dude that was taking pictures of Hannah and like leaked pictures of her and Courtney making out. Like, I really don't care about this kid. But this season, I really, really liked Tyler a lot. I felt so bad for him when he was telling Clay his story. I felt bad for him when Monty kept tormenting him. I really felt empathetic towards Tyler. I could tell that he really cares about Clay and really loves Clay and relies on Clay a lot. And it was nice to see that because in the previous seasons, Clay wasn't really, like, him and Clay weren't that close. So it was nice to see everybody pitching in to like help out with Tyler's well-being and making sure he was safe and you know, driving him where he needed to go and being with him and watching out for him. I really liked that. And I liked how Tyler had spoke about how Clay was one of the only people that was like there for him, and it was just really nice to see the growth. And I liked when he stood up and said that he was a survivor. And when he talked to Bryce about what happened, I was really shocked at Bryce's response and how he handled that and stuff. Like, I'll get to Bryce in a second, but Tyler, I care a lot about him now. He's a really important character to me now. I didn't know what the heck he was doing when he was like taking pictures of himself. In the beginning, I thought he was taking pictures of himself and editing them to make it look like he has bruises on him. That's kind of how they made it seem. But then at the end, we find out that he was taking pictures of himself over time to show his bruises healing. So I was like, oh, okay. I had him on my list, but honestly, deep down, I didn't really think he was going to be the killer because it would have been too obvious if it was him. I feel like Tyler was kind of the decoy this season. He was the person that we were supposed to think it was because he had a gun or access to guns or whatever. So Bootleg Chloe, like I said, is the one that was a part of the awareness group. She was the girl with the short hair and the glasses, and she wanted to like ambush Bryce's funeral and stuff like that. She was really annoying. I called her Bootleg Chloe Price because I feel like she was like the knockoff version of Chloe Price from Life is Strange, if you guys know that game. I play it on my channel. Chloe Price is also in my cover photo on my page, but I just didn't like her. I felt like she was doing too much. I understand where she's coming from, but at the same time, it's like, I really appreciated how Jessica was going up against her and being like, this isn't how we should handle this. Like, we shouldn't go to his funeral and do these types of things. And when they all stood up at his funeral, I was just like, what the heck is going on here? This is a lot. Yeah, I didn't really care for her character. I don't know where she came from either. She's like Ani. Like, where did you people come from? Speaking of Ani, they tried to make it seem like Ani was kind of like in the background the whole time, somewhat, like towards the end of last season. Like, they made it seem like she was there during the time frame of last season, like towards the end, I think. But I don't know, like, it's like we never saw this girl, so it's just hard to believe that she's been here the whole time. Tony, his family getting deported, that was really messed up, and that was just really sad. I loved how he was looking out for Tyler. I love Tony. I feel like he's just like the the person everybody can rely on whenever something goes down. Clay's parents, his mom was very annoying. I don't like how she wasn't listening to Clay or believing him. And his dad, I really appreciated him. He seemed like he was trying to be the mediator. Clay's mom is always kind of annoying though, so there's that. Ani's mom was interesting. She was very stern, but I could tell that she really cares about Ani. She was kind of scary. Like, I never knew what to expect from her, but I saw some really good moments with her, like when she was talking to Clay when he came over and asked him if he wanted some tea, I believe. And I could tell that she really wanted Ani to stay safe and stay out of trouble. How she knew that it was Ani's underwear that was found in Bryce's room. All of that was just crazy. When Ani was at the table, like talking to the cop about those underwear not being hers and stuff like that. That was interesting and very awkward because her mom was sitting there. So yeah. Mr. Porter, I didn't understand why he was there at first, and I was just like, why is he trying to get everybody against Clay? But then when Clay went and talked to him and he explained how he had purposely picked out kids that he hoped would defend Clay, I was like, oh, that's really smart. So I really liked Mr. Porter for that. But aside from that, I had kind of forgotten that he had gotten fired. So I was like, where has he been? And then I was like, oh, so yeah. Mrs. Baker, I didn't understand why she felt the need to call Clay and leave that voicemail that she left about how she wanted to kill Bryce. Like, I get it, but at the same time, why did she call Clay for that? It was interesting when Bryce tried to talk to her and she was just like, I don't have anything to say to you, like, get away from me. Oh my gosh, why are you here? Tony's boyfriend, I really don't know his name, I forget, but he was kind of annoying me a bit. I know he was trying to look out for Tony, but that scene where Clay was sleeping on their couch and he was like, you know, we don't know if he's guilty, why is he here? But then at the end, he was at Clay's house eating dinner with Clay, Justin, Clay's parents, and Tony. I'm like, why are you here? You were just saying that Clay was probably guilty, so, or could be guilty. So like, why are you in his house eating dinner with his family? So Zach was very suspicious the entire season. It was obvious he had done something that he was worried about people finding out about. I was hoping that it wasn't Zach just because he was being so obvious. Because if it was him, I would have just been like, I was almost mad at the end of the season when he admitted that it was him because he thought it was him. And I was just like disappointed because I was like, this is too easy. Like, he seemed so obvious the whole time. Like, I wanted to be surprised, and I wasn't surprised when he said it was him. But I saw that there was so much more left within like the episode. So I was like, okay, there has to be more to this than we think. The last episode was like an hour and 11 minutes long. So I was like, what could he say that would fill up an hour and 11 minutes and keep us entertained? Like, what could he possibly say? So I was like, there has to be some twist to this. And of course there was. It ended up being revealed that it was Alex that was actually the killer. Zach was very annoying this season too. I didn't really like him. How he was like trying to blame Tyler, and Tyler has a gun. It's him. Like, he was just being very annoying this season, and he wasn't cooperating with the group, and he was just making it obvious that he had done something, and of course he ended up being somewhat guilty. Alex killed Bryce. Let's just talk about that. So him killing Bryce was very stupid to me, and this is why. Throughout the entire season, let's talk about Bryce too at this point. Throughout the entire season, they used this season to show Bryce's good sides and the things that we hadn't really seen much of in the previous seasons. I found myself feeling very sympathetic for Bryce throughout this season. I felt bad for him. I wanted to see him grow. I wanted to see him prove that he can be a better person. So it was saddening me to know that he wouldn't have that chance anymore. But I was like, I hope whoever killed him for like a good reason, I guess. And I thought it was very strange that they showed him. Okay, I guess him raping someone is a good reason, but like, or raping a lot of people, but I'm not saying that he's a good person and I don't know though. I didn't want him to die. Like, I feel like the last season's gonna be, what are they gonna do in the last season? I heard the last season is about them like graduating. After seeing the good sides of Bryce, I found myself not wanting him to be dead, if that makes sense. That's what I'm trying to say here. And they spent the entire season showing the good sides of him, showing him defending Tyler against Monty, showing him trying to talk to Hannah's mom, showing him trying to make up with Justin and showing him trying to apologize and make it up to Jessica. And then at the end, when Zach beat him up, because Zach was mad at him for like hurting his leg, which I thought it was very strange how Bryce couldn't defend himself against Zach, because Zach's leg was hurt. So I feel like he could have easily defended himself against Zach for one. And then the part with Alex, I feel like they made Bryce be like an ass on that part, just so it would give Alex like a reason to kill Bryce. I feel like they made Bryce be rude in that moment just so Alex wouldn't look like he was like a terrible person, and it made it look like he was doing that for everyone that Bryce had hurt. But it was just like, I don't understand why they made Bryce, they showed us all these good things from him throughout the season and then made him kind of revert back to how he used to be in that moment. But it was really stupid. I really felt bad seeing him drown because he had just gotten beaten up. I don't know, it was just terrible to watch, in my opinion. He was a terrible person, but it's like, okay, they convinced me that he was changing throughout the entire season, and now I have to watch him drown. Like, I would have felt better about him drowning if they didn't show us all of that stuff. So, because I wanted to see him change. People didn't have to like him. We didn't have to like him as watchers or viewers. We didn't have to like him. But it would have been nice to see him graduate with everyone and show how he had changed. Because in the first season, I couldn't stand Justin either. But now we've gotten to see character development, and now I love Justin. So there's a lot of people I didn't like before in season 1 and whatnot, but now I like them a lot. So it would have been nice to see Bryce get that chance. But I really loved how he stood up for Tyler, though. I think that was probably one of my favorite moments out of the entire season. Oh, and Bryce's parents were really sketchy, and that's why I thought maybe they could have done something. His dad was really weird. Monty was terrible as usual. We found out that he's actually gay, which I wasn't surprised about at all. He is one of those people that has very homophobic tendencies, but is secretly in the closet. I've seen that before in real life plenty of times. But I really did not like how they killed him off. I genuinely thought that was so stupid. Like, oh yeah, you know, it's been said that Monty was killed, you know, an hour ago in his jail cell. It was really weird how they just downplayed it like it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, I didn't like that. A lot more about Monty made sense to me this season because his dad treated him the way that he did. It spit in his face when he said that he was gay and stuff like that. So a lot made more sense to me, and I could see why Monty acted the way he did at school, which I don't agree with. I don't agree with anything Bryce did either, except for like the good stuff he did. But I still don't feel like the way they were killed off was like, it seemed rushed. Like, it just seemed like, okay, we're gonna kill them off and, you know, here's the story. Especially Monty. I was really mad about that. Winston, the guy that Monty was into, I thought it was stupid how Monty beat him up, by the way, but I wasn't surprised because Monty's very aggressive and has very aggressive tendencies, and it's terrible to watch. I felt extremely bad for him when his dad spit in his face. Winston said something to Ani at the end of the season, like, Monty was with me, like, what did you guys tell the cops? I really hope in season 4 he reveals that Monty was with him, and I really hope that Monty isn't actually dead, and maybe it was like a misunderstood report that was sent out, and then it's revealed, oh, he wasn't actually dead, it was actually somebody else that got killed in their cell or something like that. Because I want to see justice for him. Like, I don't feel, even though Monty is a terrible character, I don't feel like he should have been blamed for what Alex did. And Alex's dad knew that Alex was responsible for it, which is why he was seen burning Alex's clothing. And I want to see justice served. I don't think that was cool. I don't think that was okay. I don't like how his dad just kind of went along with it and nobody knows that Monty actually didn't do anything. Like, I just don't like that. Alex is walking around acting like he didn't do anything. Like, I don't know. I don't like how Monty was killed off, though, and I hope Winston comes out and says, like, Monty was actually with me that night that Bryce got killed. I have proof. We took pictures together or something like that. That's what I want to see in season 4, and I hope Monty isn't dead. A lot of these characters don't seem as bad to me anymore because I can see why they act the way they do now. Don't agree with it at all. I think they're still crazy and need help. But like Bryce, I can see where his anger comes from now. With Monty, I can see where his anger comes from now. So it makes a lot more sense. And I just felt like their deaths were rushed. That's just how I felt, especially Monty's. I wasn't happy about that at all. This review ended up being a lot longer than I wanted it to be, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about this season down below, and let me know what you guys would like to see in season 4. I hope Monty isn't dead, and I just want to see Winston speak up about what happened. The story that Ani told Alex's dad was interesting, how they just all placed it on Monty and all like went with it. I wanted to see more than what I saw at the end. Thank you guys for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Also subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys thought about this season down below. I love you guys so much, and if there's anything that I didn't touch on and you guys want to know my opinion on it, just comment down below and I'll respond to you. And I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.
It's gonna go!